Hey, Brent, good afternoon, everyone. We're live here at the command post, which is the Lowe's parking lot, familiar to people who go back and forth between the Valley and the New Haven area. As of right now, I'm told by Eversource representatives that roughly 700 customers out of the 2,500 that lost use of their gas service yesterday have been restored. And they say they're hopeful that by midnight tonight, almost all will be restored. The natural gas low pressure problem manifested itself yesterday when Eversource crews say they were performing routine maintenance on their system.
The system did not perform as it should have. We had a blockage in the system, caused a low pressure and an outage.
It turns out it was a faulty valve that was broken beneath the ground along East Main Street next to the Fitzpatrick's auto dealership in Ansonia.
It caused a stoppage of flow, caused any outage, never concerned with leaks or any kind of public safety concern.
Eversource's crews from Connecticut, Massachusetts, and contractors were broken down into 4 zones, and some customers were restored by late last night, but not this man.
It was kind of interesting and chilly last night. We just snuggled up a little bit with my wife, that's all.
The Eversource techs will, of course, need to perform safety checks before restoration.
And the process is we isolate every service affected, we restore gas safely, we ensure it's safe, and then house by house, our technicians restore service.
Heat, stove, and hot water, but I do have a backup for electric stove.
Eversource says they are encountering some issues with equipment when they're attempting to relight customer service.
Any issues, we'll make sure every customer affected, if they do have an issue with their appliance, that's addressed as well.
Eversource says if they hadn't discovered the problem, the system likely still would have functioned fine because enough natural gas was passing through the system.
Every valve is required to be maintained on an annual basis, our critical valves and our district regulators every year. So we do tons of maintenance on our system.
So we had the first guy come out and tell us, no, it's not your furnace, it's your gas, you're getting no gas.
And happily, that young lady says that she had her gas service restored this morning. And remember, gentlemen, use Jim's advice. If you're chilly at night, snuggle with your wife. We're live here in Derby. I'm Tony Terzi, Fox 61 News.